This is my US passport, and this is my UK passport. I've got both. Been meaning to make a video comparing both for a long time, but, well, might not be able to for much longer. You see, I made a post on my YouTube community tab and on my Instagram stories, so you could ask me any question you wanted for this video, and you did not disappoint. You asked me things about whether I'd ever give one of these up, things about how I actually plan out these videos behind the scenes, questions about Britain, moving to Europe, and, well, about videos I probably shouldn't have teased so early. My name is Edinger, and let's jump into the first question. This one comes from my Instagram. Follow it if you haven't yet. We got, what are your thoughts on the proposed bill in the US to end dual citizenship? So if you haven't seen the news, yeah, a MAGA senator from Ohio proposed a bill that would essentially end dual citizenship. If you hold US citizenship, you are not able to hold any other citizenship. There are a few countries around the world that also do this. But the fact that this has been proposed means not really much. Senators propose many bills like that are really good in theory or have some nice ideas. I mean, supposedly there was some sort of bill proposed to reduce the cost of relinquishing citizenship. I actually made an entire video about it. It's going to go down from like £2,000 and some change all the way down to a reasonable $400 or something. But yeah, they changed currency. Turns out, no, it's been 4 years. They proposed it. It's supposedly going to happen. They're like, yep, we're on it. So, in my opinion, it's just really not anything that's going to happen. It feels like something that one of those types of senators proposes as like a, look at me, I propose this type of bill. Yeah, sure, it's more of a posturing sort of situation. Not actually going to happen. However, I mean, if I had the situation where they were like, that's it, you have to choose. I've already chosen, mate. I mean, I stood next to a picture of the Queen and I'm a British citizen now, okay? I live here, I've got my life here. It's taken me pretty much all of my adult life to get this citizenship. The amount of Americans that I have seen along the journey that have come to this country and have had to leave because they didn't manage to get the right visa, or maybe they fell in love with someone, but it was too late, and the marriage and the visa, and it just didn't work for them. And it is difficult. I can't imagine going back on that and just being like, yes, I'd rather have this US passport, which grants me, well, I can say I have a US passport. There's really nothing this gives me compared to this in terms of living my life, essentially. Power to them, though. The US passport does look better. Look at this. Design-wise, what do you think this is? This is such an awful design. Look how simple this is. So much better, come on. And before the second question, I just got this lovely guy in the mail. Look at it. Oh my God, it's so nice. This is similar to British citizenship, as in, I've been trying to get this for a very long time. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh yeah, okay.
Let's see, how about right about there?
Well, that feels about right, doesn't it? Yeah. All right, so let's go with the next question here. We have, how did your family and friends react when they found out you were here for good? It was a very slow process, so it wasn't like one day I just went, guys, I'm in the UK for good. After I graduated, I was like, oh, I'm not done yet, so I got a visa. So it wasn't like I was gonna make an announcement to my friends and family. I just kept kind of staying at visa after visa after visa. It's very difficult to stay in this country, to move countries in general, but eventually, I guess when I got my citizenship and I had talked to my mom about it, she was very upset, seemingly because, mothers want their children to be around them, moving that far away, quite catastrophic, assumably. In terms of my friends, British friends were like, why'd you do this? It makes sense for you, but also, why did you do this? Whereas Americans were like, oh, that makes sense. I feel like because I make so many videos about the reasonings that I would do this, none of my friends were kind of confused. They were like, I mean, yeah, we also can see the news. And that was back in the day as well. I'm keeping all the similar questions first here. We have, what advice would you give to someone seeking to move to Europe? So Europe is a misnomer. There's lots of countries there. I feel like if you're at the stage where you're like, I want to move to Europe, you're at a very early stage. So I would say do a lot more research, because there are many different countries with many different lifestyles, with many different cultures and languages that maybe some of them vibe with you, maybe some of them don't. Just learn a lot about the country that you want to go to. Learn everything you can about the processes. Spend some time watching YouTube videos about it, read books about it. Try and learn as much as you can about how to get in, and that is really how you're gonna have to get in. Do you watch British TV? And similar question is, do you watch any traditional UK sports like snooker or darts? I have watched some British TV, like the IT Crowd. I thought it was really funny. In terms of other British television, not really. And these days, I really, I don't have a TV license because I do not watch any TV. I pretty much watch exclusively YouTube because there's always something for me to learn. In terms of sports stuff, I've just never really found myself a fan of watching sports, mostly because I usually don't play those sports. And I find it just the same content over and over, just with a different group of people, I guess, playing. If I'm watching a sport that I'm engaging myself in and I can learn from, I think that's pretty cool. I used to watch Smash Bros gamers on YouTube. I used to watch streamers play like Fortnite because, and that's the closest comparison I can have, I'm watching people play a game and show their skill and I'm like, dang, I could do that a little bit, maybe. I could, you know what I mean? Whereas watching like footy, watching some snooker, watching some darts, I just find for me, things I'd rather spend my time watching, things that I can learn from. Maybe I'm neurotic, probably. Hi, Evan. Are you enjoying the documentary style videos you are producing lately? I'd hope so, right? I think they're great. What's it like behind the scenes when you are planning each project? So, in terms of like my side of things, what I love doing is tunneling into a topic, researching things that I find interesting and trying to write it in a way that makes other people interested in the thing I'm interested in. Then pretty much I just grab my camera, put it in a bag with a microphone, my tripod, and then I head out on my bike to as nice, pretty places that I could find that I think are relevant. I kind of like do plan this out as much as I can, like look for a nice composition revolving around this type of thing. And then I get all my shots, bish bash bosh, get some B-roll that I think is relevant, and then shove it off to my friend Kim in Wales. And Kim is incredibly talented at this documentary style stuff. And so she will just put some polish on top. Have you ever been like, wow, that little map graphic was really nice, and how did you get that old-timey footage? Or, wow, that Parliament footage, how did you, that's Kim. All right, so big up Kim, the Welsh queen of all the edits. The one that surprised me most was my Jelly Deals one. I didn't necessarily expect it to come off as such an incredible documentary. I had just poured my heart and soul into that script and into the shots, and Kim felt that and decided to just spend so much more time making it into a beautiful work of art. So big up, Kim. Diolch. All right, diolch. Diolch to Kim. What was the hardest part about making your Kratom video? Whew, filming it was genuinely really awful, mostly because I had to relive so many of these moments and I would choke up and have to like regain composure. The stuff that was in the kitchen where I filmed it with, that really took a lot out of me. The scenes in my bedroom were, oh my God. A lot of the scenes outside, the scenes on the swing set, basically filming everything was very, very rough for me. It was just traumatizing in a way, because it's just reliving everything again and again, and my body's like feeling the upset. But real talk, the actual hardest part about making that video was getting it uploaded, because Kim got me the video 4 days in advance and was like, here you go, chief. And I was like, sweet. But I was in the middle of the Sahara Desert, and for some reason, my editing software wiped all of my footage off my SSD, which was a terabyte. I'm having a panic attack because this video means a lot to me. All the footage is gone except in my server in London. And I'm in the Sahara Desert. So thankfully, we managed to get this work. It was just insane grind. Downloading a terabyte of footage from London to Cardiff from my London server, and then having to like color grade that in advance from like proxies, and then getting that up at the right time. It was a big feat. Have you got your driving license yet? Was that a UK-US difference? A driver's license? Yeah, so I've got my US driver's license. I use that pretty much whenever I'm driving the US or anywhere else abroad. I use that one to drive. However, in terms of a UK one, the only reason I'd really get one, I think, is probably just to make the content of what it would be like, because I'd be interested. But I really don't have a use for a car these days. They're so incredibly expensive. And yes, it would allow me to drive maybe to somewhere I want around the UK, maybe in Europe. But what I've found a lot of success in recently is just taking my e-bike on the trains, and basically I cycle to the train station, I then take my e-bike on the train, and then the end destination, I get off with the bike and then cycle to where I'm trying to go. And that's been really great. I'm able to have my camera stuff with me, and I just find it so much more enjoyable and doesn't cost me as much. So there's a lot of pros there. So yeah, essentially I don't really have a plan for it at the moment, but maybe if some car brand is like, hey Evan, we would like to give you a car for, okay. Maybe. Do you still enjoy playing ukulele? Do you think we could hear you play again sometime soon? I do love, actually, ukulele quite a lot. I've got some around my house so I can pick them up and noodle. Fun fact, yes, I actually do think you can hear me play some soon, because I've got a full produced song coming out very soon. The music video we shot in October, so it's very autumnal, and that's coming very soon. So it'll be on your feeds maybe the next month or two, but I still have to work on album art for it. Don't know what to do about that. But yeah, full-on ukulele song. Very excited. So stay tuned. I'd say add it to Spotify or Apple Music or whatever, but I haven't gotten that far. There's so much involved with making a song that is so much admin. This question's embarrassing. Evan, when will we get to see that collab with Matt and Tom that you teased weeks ago? The worst part about this comment, it was actually months ago. I put it in my AI video. So one of my most viewed videos of this year, everyone's like, oh, cool, a collab with Matt Gray and Tom Scott. That's going to be great. And every time I see either of them, they're like, how's that video doing? How's that video doing? It's nearly done. It's doing great. Essentially, it's just an incredibly huge video that has multiple cameras and multiple microphones and multiple styles that can go on. And there were so many creative decisions that was burning me out every time I opened up the project. But Kim has been absolutely just killing it. I've seen it so far and it is stunning. So it's coming. Might be surprised I'm wearing like shorts in it. And you're like, Evan, it's freezing out. Yeah, it was filmed in May. It's coming. It's coming. I got a lot of stuff coming soon. Do you feel your relationship has changed you or your plans and interests? Yeah, of course. I think that's very normal. I mean, it's not normal for a person to be interested in law, I think. But my partner's a solicitor, so the way that she talks about it, I'm like, oh, actually, that is quite interesting. And it's nice to pick someone's brain that's so much more intelligent than me about so many different things, to be able to learn from like, oh, okay, I didn't know that that was a thing. So yeah, it has. In terms of like changed me, oh, hugely. I don't work nearly as much actually, because I actually set time aside to spend with my partner. Like right now, when she's out waiting for me, because I'm actually filming on a Saturday. Some things don't change, but sometimes you try. Any good books you've read recently that are worth recommending? Actually, yes. Just today, I finished a book called Why Can't I Just Enjoy Things by Pierre Novelli. It's a comedian's guide to autism. Excellent book. Really quick read, very fascinating. Essentially, the elevator pitch is a stand-up comedian finds out he's autistic after getting heckled by an autistic man who's like, you're like me, kind of. It's a really good read. If you ever want to know more about autism, like from an adult's perspective, like someone who got diagnosed as an adult, excellent book, very funny, very eye-opening. If you ever just want to know more about it, big recommend, very fascinating. There's a lot of things in common between autism and loads of neurodivergent stuff like ADHD and stuff. So it was a good read. What is it you like about living in London so much? Good question. This person prefers the quiet small town. Have you always liked big cities? I grew up in a suburb and then I moved to a very, very rural middle of nowhere place. I've never been a city person. In fact, one of my videos went viral the other day and I loved the bot comments on Twitter were like, yeah, he just moved from a Democrat-run city. And I'm like, no, I never lived in a city in the US, actually. I've always been a very suburb or rural guy. But when I moved to London, it just has everything that you could ever want in a city. And in terms of like being too busy, if you spend all of your time, mostly as a tourist, in like the busy parts of London, that's probably how you'll think of it. But London is massive, and there are so many pockets of it that are actually quite quiet. You go in Zone 3, Zone 4, Zone 5, Zone 6, there are really quiet places where you can have this small town life-ish, but yet with loads of amenities, London on your doorstep. And to me, that's kind of what I like about it, is you can kind of choose how busy you want to live in the area, to work, to play. There's so much to do. There's so much to see. There's so much culture. And it just seems like where everything's happening, it's just got everything that I love about life. London. Work for the tourism board. You once said you don't use the tube anymore in one of your cycling videos. Is that still the case, or are there times where it's more convenient to take it? So the tube is incredible. I actually miss it in a way, because no, I actually do not take the tube most ever. I did take it once this month. I had a friend's party in Chiswick and it was very late at night and my girlfriend was coming with me, and normally we cycle everywhere together, but I was like, it might be more convenient for this one case. We might get a little bit too slizzard out there. Why not just take the tube on the way back? Plus, it is nice to take the tube, but for like 99% of the time, it's just so enjoyable cycling around London. It's so lovely. I just wouldn't take the tube. It's free. It does great stuff for my brain, for my body. You see it so much. It's so nice. If you haven't seen my cycling video before on why I switched to cycling all the time, I highly recommend that. It's probably my favorite video I've made in the last year. Longest distance you've cycled in a day. That is probably around 70 kilometers. I cycled all the way to where my music producer lives, and that is like well southwest London. It took about 32 kilometers to get there, and also 5 kilometers in, I actually crashed my bike for the first time, got a massive, massive gash in my leg, had to like stop by a pharmacy and get it covered up, but I still recorded the song. There's raw emotion in that song from crashing my bike and bleeding all over, but I didn't want to cancel the appointment because I just wanted to get the song done. How close to off-camera Evan is on-camera Evan? I think if you talk to anybody that knows me, they'd say, just a little bit louder on camera. That's pretty much it. I try and be, I don't try to be, I just am myself. I really struggle with being different versions of myself around different groups of people. And so like, I meet my partner's parents and I'm like, this is who I am. I job interview, I'm like, this is who I am. And for the most part, every job interview that I've had, I find very successful. Like I've been pretty good at that because I'm not playing this game of like trying to be like, here's the best version of me. I'm like, this is literally me. This is my sense of humor. This is what I have to bring to the table. That's what you get. You either immediately like me or you immediately dislike me, but it just saves a lot of time. If you ever met me at a pub, hopefully you leave a comment being like, yeah, He was all right. Evan, I've watched your videos every Sunday for about 10 years. Wow. I would love to know what you miss about the earlier days of being a YouTuber. I feel like the easy answer is just, I miss the community vibes of going to like YouTube conventions every single year. It was kind of like an incredibly unbelievable scene. You'd get flown out to either Orlando, Florida, or to like Los Angeles for YouTube conventions. You'd go on stage, there'd be people screaming, and it'd be like, oh my God, it's me. And then you get to meet loads of other YouTubers, which was the nicest part. You meet the people that like your videos. It was really nice, basically. However, it's fascinating because at that point in time, the community was so much smaller. Also, people watching YouTube that went to these types of scenes were a completely different demographic. It almost feels like an alternate life. But I think the main thing I miss is the close-knit community that there used to be, whereas like everybody watched everybody because there weren't that many YouTubers. So everyone was kind of aware. You'd meet them at an event and be like, oh, that's really nice. And these days, not as much. So, mate, you didn't have to worry about title and thumbnail. That was a dream. How do you get past negative comments? This might surprise you to find out, considering I've been making videos for so long. Recently, it's been a problem, mostly because my audience has expanded explosively. The algorithm has been like really just showing my videos to like loads of types of people that wouldn't normally watch my stuff. And because of the way that I speak so like confidently about the things that I've researched and talked about, it means that certain people that maybe don't necessarily know about a certain topic and just have a very staunch opinion on things that they don't know about, they will just leave me vitriolic comments. And I get very upset when I feel like my like very thorough explanation is being misunderstood, because I very much seek to be like, how did I make this mistake? How have I done something for this person not to have understood? I must need to do a better job. And so real talk, I've genuinely read every single comment on my YouTube channel that have across all my videos for the past like 10 years until 2 weeks ago when I finally stopped doing that. It was just such a time-consuming habit. I was getting so many comments that it was overwhelming me, including all these negative ones. And so now I just try and have a bit of a better balance, which is good. In terms of how I deal with it, I know what I'm making. I'm very happy with what I'm making, and I will make mistakes from time to time. But at the end of the day, you can't let the mistakes that you're making hold you back from trying anything. And so you just kind of have to keep trying to put stuff out there in the world, and the right type of people that are interested in what you have to say will appreciate it as much as you do. Will AI completely take over journalism? Well, it's already taken over a lot of print media, a lot of advertising stuff, which makes it easier if you're good at pattern recognition to just completely be like, oh, I don't have to pay attention to that. I can see that that's just AI written. I've seen so many articles that I can very clearly tell were written by AI. It's probably going to be like good chocolate versus Easter chocolate. You can tell when something's written by a human, and maybe those are the type of journalists that you subscribe to actually learn from, as opposed to just reading regurgitated slop. Have you been on a cruise? Yes, I've been on 2. As a YouTuber, sometimes brands will be like, do you want to do a thing? And I'm like, yes, please. I went on a cruise with like 5 friends in the Caribbean. There was a solar eclipse, and Bonnie Tyler sang Total Eclipse of the Sun while there was a solar eclipse. Pretty cool. And the second one was actually a world cruise. I went from Italy all the way to Brazil, passing loads of different countries with my friend Ellie. It was really amazing. I was never a cruise person before going on a cruise because I was like, that sounds pretty lame. I'd much rather spend time in a country. But then when I went on one, I went, wow, that's actually really nice. How tall are you? I am 192, 6'4". That sounds like I'm actually like 19,264 centimeters. Are you still friends with all the other YouTubers like Dodie and Connie and all them lot? I used to be friends with so many people, like huge group of people. And it's so difficult to maintain friendships, like active friendship with so many people. But yes, I actually have maintained the ones with my close friends. I went to Dodie's Christmas party a couple of days ago. Lovely little bean. Connie and I hung out the other day as well. She and I are doing a little trip somewhere exciting in 2026. So that's very lovely as well. And Luke, yeah, my busy mate. I believe, what? His daughter is my goddaughter. So yeah, we all grew up and still maintain quite close contact. It's really nice. Hey, Evan, I really admire your profession. I love your photography. Where would you suggest start out when it comes to selling photos online? I have not a lot of advice with that. Every time I've sold photos and prints, it has been so overwhelming of an experience because I want to do it all myself. I would say just watch lots of YouTube videos on how to do it. I actually made an entire video on my second channel on my process of how I did that. I would honestly love to sell some prints in the near future, but I just know how time consuming it is to get everything sorted. So maybe at some point in 2026, I can work with a printing agency, maybe a London one, and get some of my prints out there. That would be exciting. I'd just say watch a lot of YouTube videos. It's usually my answer for a lot of things. Will we ever see an in-person show/talk? I've got a lot of emails recently from companies asking me if I'd like to go on a tour. I actually don't know if my audience would come to a tour, but also I don't know what the heck I would say, to be very honest with you. I don't want to be on a stage and have people walk away from an experience they paid money to see going, oh, it's a bit shit. I don't really learn much. I'd have to really plan something out. That's a huge time-consuming endeavor, and I would just feel so stressed if it wasn't that great. So I'd have to have a really great idea. I'd have to have a massive team to help me out with it. It's one of those things where, I don't know, it would be nice, sure, but maybe. Have you met/visited any prominent London-based YouTubers like Sorted Food or Mr. Who's the Boss? Yeah, I actually run into the main chef from Sorted Food all the time. He's probably around my area, and I've chatted with him. He's a nice guy. Actually, I was supposed to do a collab with him like 3 years ago, but that video suffered the ADHD tax. A lot of videos actually go that way. However, Mr. Who's the Boss, Aaron, yeah, he follows me on Twitter. I actually like quite a few of Aaron's videos. I've never actually met him. If I did, it would probably be to whoop his butt in Smash Bros. In his very nice little home cinema. So this is an official challenge, Aaron. If you're willing to lose, invite me over. I will win. Color or color. I have always used color with a U since 8th grade because I had a history teacher that was from Britain, and I thought it was so cool that he would put a U in certain words, and so I started doing that. Didn't know I was going to move to Britain at all, and now it's so much easier for me to do that. I might make a video on all the other little quirks about the English language that I do and haven't done, because that's good content. How do you manage to separate work and free time when traveling? I don't do a good job at it, to be very honest, because work is so enjoyable to me and is such a hobby. Like, I take so many photos, and I don't make money from the photos. I put them on my Instagram, which is a dying platform, and maybe at one point I might print some for myself and maybe sell some, but not really. It's more just the love of it. And in terms of making videos out of it, I don't know, I just really enjoy it. So a lot of it is trying to like find a balance between, oh, I want to go here and maybe make a video about this topic and then schedule things in between. So for instance, the video in which I was taking my partner all around my home state, trying all the different foods, at one point I was like, okay, honey, listen, we're going to stand at this weird intersection while I film at it for about an hour, and then we can go enjoy the boardwalk. And that was for a separate video. However, she really enjoyed herself because she was like watching everybody just run the red light, like, oh my God. And I went, see? I make interesting content. Even my partner agrees. So in terms of how do I manage separating it, I don't. And that's what makes it work. Anyway, thank you so much for not just the questions for this video, but also for all the big support this year. This has been one of the biggest years of my life on YouTube, and I'm just so thankful that you were here with me this 2025. Thank you so much. It's honestly been exciting unveiling that, putting that on the wall. I don't know how else to say thank you except thank you. And I guess I will just keep trying to make the best content I can possibly make and just keep tunneling into topics I find interesting, and hopefully you do too. So I guess without further ado, I'll see you guys next Sunday. Goodbye.
We're sitting on stage, about to play Smash Brothers. There's some people back there.
Anyone but Evan. Anyone but Evan. 230% and still not out.